Hello, hi, welcome, and thank you for being here today. I hope you're having a gorgeous day or night. We're going to dive right on in, get you some clarity because there's something going on with the energy. I can feel it. I keep seeing urgent, and I don't know what that is. That could be weird. That could be amazeballs. But let's see what comes through. If this doesn't feel like it really resonates, it could be giving you clarity on somebody else's situation, energy, and what somebody's higher self would like you to know to be helpful for you. So see how it feels. You'll know when it twinkles, and believe in, follow, trust that beautiful, deep, direct, divine connection in you, because the answer is always in you. And try to make balanced decisions between logic and intuition, so your decisions are sound, based in love, and for the highest, greatest good of everyone. So we're all uplifted in love. Let's dive in. Let's see what God's source, Holy Spirit, Christ consciousness, our higher selves, angels and energies of love have for the highest, greatest good of all. I keep seeing a fence. So, but I feel like it's the same fence. So either you're sitting on the fence, somebody else is sitting on the fence, they were sitting on the fence, they were on the fence, off the fence. I kind of feel like it's that. So the fence usually represents, for me, making a decision. It could be a boundary, but it's usually somebody sitting on something, trying to figure out which side of the fence to go on, which direction to move. And I feel like somebody moves in a certain direction, but they keep coming back to the same fence. So maybe that's a decision that is about you or because of you. But if somebody keeps going in a certain direction, but coming back to that same fence, there's a reason somebody keeps getting drawn back. So maybe somebody's going in a specific direction where they even feel like it's a more controlled direction because they know that terrain, they know that they have the map. And maybe the other way is unknown. Maybe even somebody started down that unknown but went back to that fence. I totally just heard Back to Black by Amy Winehouse. You went back to what you knew, so far removed from all that we went through. Pretty troubled track, my odds are stacked, and I go back to black. We only said goodbye with words, I died 100 times. You go back to her and I go back to black. So maybe somebody went back to an old partnership or a relationship, or maybe you don't even know why somebody went a certain direction. Maybe that was you. Maybe you're the one going back to the fence. Let's see what's going on here. What is the overall energy going on? That somebody maybe feels like they didn't take the chance at something to really blossom in abundance in their life. It's 3. It's kind of like the Empress. It's so much possibility here. You have this field of wildflowers, this beautiful reflection in the water. The sun is shining so bright, it almost feels like it's energy in this card, like it's twinkling, but it flew out upside down. So if somebody doesn't feel like something is growing, they feel like their garden is stagnant, it's almost like somebody knows they have that opportunity. They know they have that seed of abundance there. Maybe that has to do with that crossroads or the fence. A certain decision somebody has to make, a certain, movement or change somebody has to make to get into this energy of blossoming abundance, because this is where there's plenty, for all. This is where it's not just, it's like the flowers that keep blooming. It's not just, like annual, perennial kind of thing. There's something where once these seeds are planted in the right soil, the right partnership, for some of you, this has to do with a job. What, you feel rooted and planted in the right environment. This is not something where the paycheck is exactly the same every single week. If we're going to, let's say finances or your job, something like that, or even a project you're working on, this is something that keeps getting bigger. It keeps even putting you in the position where you gain more in your skills, your experiences. You have the capacity to be promoted, even if it's something where you maybe don't see this as a long-term thing, but the skill set that you gained in this certain environment is something that you can utilize maybe to start your own business or somewhere else. So there's still that potential for growth somehow, even if this is the in-between hallway, even if this is the off season. If this has to do with a partnership. This is a partnership that's going to keep growing and flourishing and feeling alive no matter what the season is. Even if it's that slow season, I kind of feel like this is somewhere where the flowers will keep blossoming. But, you know, I see seasons. So even if it's, I kind of see, even if it's like the winter season and something isn't supposed to grow, I feel like this connection is probably an evergreen. It's still beautiful. Maybe the flowers come in the spring, but there's still something that's still lush. And I just heard like rich soil, but maybe the name rich. I don't know why I just thought of big and rich. That was so weird. Maybe it's about wealth as well. I don't know. I just thought of save a horse and ride a cowboy. I think that's big and rich. Blossoming abundance. I don't know. There's something about maybe wealth, maybe the idea of what wealth is because I feel like this is all around. It's not just money. This is, you know, a vibrant life. This is beautiful experiences. This is peace and harmony and love and sassy excitement. This is happiness and joy, growth, prosperity, stability, abundance, security. It feels, you know, maybe that's what the reflection is, or that's what somebody is reflecting on. I absolutely see that potential there, but let's see. Let's get another one. Clarifying number 3. Blossoming abundance. Why is blossoming abundance here? Well, because maybe it starts with a little, what did I say? A little sassy romance. This is somebody who, maybe you, maybe someone else, felt like your heart was, maybe somebody's stumbling the words. Your heart was kind of caged in. This is where somebody has the perfect key to unlock your heart, maybe break down some walls, open you up. Even here, it looks like the key to this blossoming abundance in someone's life is opening up to this energy of romance. You know, something was behind this locked door. It's like all of a sudden, once this door opened, you thought it might be a wall. You thought it might be just, you know, a closet of clutter, and it's not. It actually opens to this outside world where there's, you know, confetti hearts and also this pool of beautiful reflection and sunshine coming in. But if somebody always felt caged, stuck, stagnant, the way to open this up is to follow what you love, follow your joy, even if this is not about a person. I feel like for a lot of you, this is about a person. You've either inspired someone to kind of open up, even somebody that's not typically romantic, maybe is romantic around you, but you could be the one that kind of caged yourself in. Maybe you had some big boundaries because you were hurt in the past. Maybe you've been working on your own abundance, but this is the one arena, the one area that you're I keep hearing lost, feel a little lost about. Maybe for some of you, you have a sassy, sexy, amazeballs romantic life, and you just have this energy or vitality that actually is going to bring some, I hear new growth in other areas of your life. But if you're with your honey for a long time and you haven't had a romantic date, I do feel like you have to open up that door, do something spontaneous, call that restaurant, even just get in the car and don't know where you're going. Even if it's just hanging out on the porch, you know, over coffee, something like that. There's a way to have this romantic energy in your life, no matter what you do as far as the experience. Also, if you don't have anybody you feel romantic about, this is you being in that energy where you're open to love, you're open to experiences, you're open to possibly going out by yourself, but maybe meeting somebody. You're open to somebody you don't think is your type, but maybe you get in a conversation or you give somebody a chance and you're like, wow, that's not really like anybody I've ever dated, but there's a connection there. But if you don't get out there, if you don't allow yourself to have that open space to see, then you're constantly closing yourself off from maybe beautiful opportunities that are right behind that door. There's something about, I hear them like a knock. It's like love's knocking on your door here, but you have to answer the call. So let's get one more. Also, there's a lot of threes. Maybe you see synchronicity with threes, because now you have 333. 333. Maybe you see that on the clock. Door to romance. Let's see. Clarify, door to romance, blossoming abundance. I saw the fence, right? Here you got a fence. Look at these two stallions now. So I'm kind of getting that. So you have this cage here, you know, there's a keyhole right inside that heart, but the door is open. And I'm getting that energy of the carousel now. So the carousel energy, I don't know why this is an imprint for moving from something that kind of got stagnant, kind of got boring, kind of around and around, and looks really pretty on the outside, but not really exciting. You know, so if you have that pretty porcelain carousel, you know, it's gorgeous, but it goes up and down, around and around, but you see the same thing when you go around that carousel every single time. It's always the same horse's ass right in front of you and someone else over there. But there's something about one of those carousel horses. I just see it cracking. So maybe something had to crack, something had to break down. Maybe somebody really had to like come out of their shell. And all of a sudden they're like, wow, I'm not a plastic carousel horse, I'm a stallion. It's something like that. Like there's something so much more exciting here about the energy and the action. You know, maybe these horses believed they had to stay behind the fence, not realizing the horsepower or the potential to just jump over the fence and maybe get to run farther. Maybe that fence is really small and they're getting itchy to just kind of move. I get that this is somebody like hitting the horsepower, whether that's just you in your own life or somebody is really running towards you. But I feel like you're equal here. You might be really different. This is giving me big yin yang, masculine, feminine energy. But both of these stallions or these horses look just as strong as the other one. Maybe their vibration is a little different. Maybe their experiences are a little different. Maybe what one lacks, the other has, and they can actually balance each other out. This could be somebody who is bringing light to a situation, or somebody that is even strong enough to maybe face some shadow work. It's definitely somebody who's, 17 is like the star. Somebody really wants to go in the direction of their heart. Somebody is determined to have all over abundance in their life. I do feel like for some of you, you're perfectly okay with being single. But I still feel like there's a kind of sassy romantic energy you're exuding that's bringing abundance and action, you know, overall into your life. You know, even if this is just about a project you're working on and you put all your time into, and maybe love land is not in the cards right now for you, I kind of feel like you're putting all that love into something and something's about to take off. If something was enclosed, sitting on that fence, I feel like it's exploring the other side of that fence, but I don't feel like you're doing it alone. Maybe you jump over that fence alone, but I feel like there is a business partner, or there is a friend, or there is somebody that's just gonna be totally in love with you coming in, maybe in your future. Maybe once you branch out, you start to do things a little bit different. And for some of you, I feel like this is you and another person taking action together, because now I just saw that fence and somebody's really trying to make a decision, and it's really sweet. I just saw like somebody else just coming and like not even saying anything, just kind of sitting on the fence for a while, almost in silence. And then maybe as like a conversation starts. The conversation, I see it's kind of simple in the beginning. And then it's almost like somebody had an energy, but they didn't want to be like, dude, why y'all weird on the fence? I can feel your funk. And I feel like somebody knows that, but they're not calling somebody out on it. They want somebody to feel comfortable next to them. And then I feel like maybe somebody that normally didn't want to talk about whatever was funking them up is going to kind of start to talk, start to open up, you know, offer somebody, they're like, maybe they want to feel comfortable in that cage, but they're at least like, okay, maybe open the door. I'm not going to come out quite yet, but maybe soon. And I feel like a conversation gets deeper. Maybe you talk about fears, maybe you talk about dreams, maybe it's just bouncing ideas off of one another, a brainstorming session, something like that. But I feel like some clarity about confusion comes out of that, and I feel like somebody feels secure because of that conversation, or maybe it's over conversations. Maybe it's not a, you know, one experience, one date, one meeting kind of situation, but it does feel like somebody gets more confident in their strength, more confident in their direction, more confident even in the other person, whoever that is. And I mean, for some of you, that could just be your bestie. That could be somebody new coming in your life. Let's see what this is all about. We do have the door to romance. So, you know, I try to go neutral here with the energy, but it looks like romance keeps on slipping through. So, kind of want to do this though. Let's you know, go back a little bit. I am going to do this because I feel like these are kind of important. I want to see what maybe a big soul's lesson you're going through right now, or somebody else you're connected to, or maybe together, is at the current moment. What is somebody learning? This means that somebody has gone through a situation, which is not always easy, because when we learn lessons, it usually means we had to go to school. We had to go to that class, you know, that human class that isn't always the easiest. Sometimes we have a lesson, it's like being in kindergarten, and sometimes it's, you know, you're getting your PhD here. So let's see what this lesson is. Because I do feel like with all of this energy, somebody's like graduating their lesson. Somebody is releasing some karma. Someone's out of an old cycle, or someone's either in the same situation or cycle they are in, but instead of seeing it through, I'm just going to go with this because it's kind of what I see, through the eyes of like a third grader. Now somebody is looking at those. I actually see solutions or formulas, maybe resolutions, through somebody who's, you know, somebody who's wise. Like I don't even see, I actually see like the professor's eyes, but then I'm getting that professor student thing. Sometimes somebody really young has a lot of wisdom because they haven't been jaded yet, you know, by the guidelines, the rule book, society, you know, what everyone else has taught them to be or learn or know. So somebody could have that natural instinct where even it's the young person that kind of keeps the teacher or the elder that knows it all on their toes. But I do feel like whoever the older person is, or the more wise person, is not contained in the cage, not contained in the box. This is somebody who I see questioning things. Just maybe they were given a different question than they ever thought of. Because I'm getting like Einstein energy. Like someone's like, There's something like about Einstein in the silence. There's something I can't remember what the quote was. Like you knew when he was silent, he was figuring something out, or he was really thinking, like coming up with a formula. Also, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the teacher is ready, the right student, you know, throws them a little monkey wrench, throws them a curveball. So maybe it's about a curveball here. Maybe you play baseball. Maybe you work on cars, or you're a plumber. I do feel like some of you are putting something together, whether that's a mystery or a puzzle or a solution, or you're actually working on something where you put something together. You're making something, you're creating something. Perseverance. You're learning to keep going when you're knocked down. You're learning to, if you fail the test, you study a little bit harder, you get a tutor, you go back, you take it again, you do it again. This is about not giving up, but this is knowing when you've graduated out of something that perseverance energy has to keep evolving. You know, if you're persevering in a certain situation and it's just kind of like that cycle, it's kind of constant, but you never get to elevate or grow or expand, then what you're preserving is actually containing you. Because now I'm thinking of like jelly or like I actually saw kimchi. Maybe you do something with fermentation or sprouting, microgreens. I don't know, that was kind of side. Maybe you're a chef or something like that. Maybe it is about taking something in the right season so you can preserve it to have it when you need it in a different season. But I'm getting the difference between something that doesn't last and honey. So honey never goes bad. So there's something also about the honey and the ecosystem of the world, you know, the bees, something that is always going to be nutritious. It's always going to be good. It's not going to go sour. It's not going to, it even is an antiseptic. So I don't even know what this says. And I don't even know if I brought my glasses. Oh my goodness, guys. Let's see. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. I feel like somebody has their mind set on you, or somebody knows how to take action now. I also feel like there was something, I hear preserving energy. You know, if you're ready to like be the quarter horse and really like book it far, it's going to be different from that horse that runs the race a little bit slower than the quarter horse, but they go a lot further. So there's something about sleep or preserving your energy so that you can rise to the occasion. I don't know what's going on with you guys. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. Just don't let your mindset get in the way of your intuition, or your mindset be so structured that it's not open to expansion, open to firing up the brain, you know, to think outside the box. Because the brain isn't just what is set, you know, by the rule book. The brain also has that creative side, you know, that thinks something out, that thinks about something that was never thought before. I don't know why I just thought of, I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. I just went like the scarecrow on you. Maybe somebody was scared. Do-do-do-do-do-do. And the thoughts I'd be thinking I could be another Lincoln if I only had a brain. Maybe you like oh, I can't even think of it. The Wizard of Oz. I don't know why I just thought of Return to Oz. If any of you remember that movie, it is so weird. It was like that movie, I want to say in the 80s. It was like The Wizard of Oz 2. If you remember that movie, maybe put that in the comments. It was with the weird roller skating people and the, you know, the neon colors and the weird lady that had all the heads in the cages. Oh, I don't, if you've never seen that movie, it's very strange. It actually kind of gave me nightmares as a kid. It was so weird. There was like the new ruler of Oz, and she didn't actually have a head, and she wanted to be the most beautiful ruler. A little bit of like, you know, Snow White, Maleficent kind of vibes here. You know, her beauty wasn't good enough. So she had all the heads from the fairest maidens in the land in these little, I don't know, they were like little glass cases. So she would want to be this beauty today, and she would kind of fakely put that head on. But you know what? No matter how pretty her face was, it never really took away her whack-ass energy or the truth that was inside of who she really was. Maybe there was somebody that was putting on a mask. That was just an interesting thing to get. You know, somebody that's always kind of portraying somebody else, but never themselves. I also feel like with this, for some reason with this, there's something about, I don't know, I feel like if some of you are connecting to somebody that they find you in the morning with your toothbrush out of your mouth and one sock on and your hair all cray, like you at your, what you would say your worst. Like, I'm not even, you know, I look crazy now. I feel like they find that beautiful, and that's actually really beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get some mystery message. We'll go to the tarot. So, mystery messages on door to romance, blossoming abundance, action. Well, maybe for some of you, this action has to do with somebody, where is it? Coming back from the past. Maybe this is just you connecting to an old friend, an old flame. Maybe it's even a little, I'm actually getting, for some of you, even like a blast from the past, like you're thinking about a past situation now in a different way. So for some of you, if you're not reconnecting from somebody from your past, it could also be a past life. It could also be you're seeing a past situation now through different eyes. You know, now you're that wise one and not the kindergartner looking at a situation. And now I feel like that changes a past situation into future abundance. So it's learning from the past, not repeating it. Taking what worked from the past that is worth repeating and utilizing that for not just something on a, you know, a repeat cycle, but that repeat cycle actually expands. I hope that made sense. Let's see. Let's get another one. Well, there's your seeds of abundance, your seeds of growth. This is not my prettiest card, by the way. You can tell this. I still put it in, but I should make that nicer. A little bleeding from my ink there. So you do have seeds of growth. You have to plant the seeds in the right garden. You have to tend that garden. If you just ignore the garden, it could get overrun with weeds. You definitely have potential here for something. Maybe you started to grow a garden with a certain person or in a certain thing, and maybe the season changed. Maybe it's going back now. Maybe it's totally worth it because you have big love for either something you're doing, big love for yourself, or maybe somebody has big love for you and vice versa. I don't know why I just saw I wanted to, oh my gosh, so weird. I just saw I just saw somebody as a little kid, making their Barbie doll kiss Ken. Maybe somebody's name is Ken. Maybe it's not a Barbie world. Maybe it's about something being real. I did get that little thing on the plastic before, or the porcelain. Big love, man. Let's see. Yeah, you do. There are a lot of cards in here. So if this is somebody coming in your life and you have that foundation of friendship and you're also pretty sassy in love land together, that is a pretty big love. That is something worth persevering and growing with. That is worth taking action on. That is worth constantly making decisions together. Also being inspired by each other. That is also something that would bring a blossoming abundance into your life that probably would, I just heard, spread the seeds of growth in other areas of your life. All right, let's go to the tarot. Let's see what's going on. You saw I try to be really kind of general here. I use my most general one here, but love wants to come in for some of you. It's starting in your energy, but you have to believe that you deserve it. You have to really believe that the right thing is out there coming in. If you feel in your soul that you really want to make a connection with someone, you're meant to have one. It might be that you had to have some alone time by yourself or some weird situations of the past so that you learn something. So you really recognize the right one when it's there. You know how long that right one, your person's going to be in your life. It's, experience by experience, action by action, day by day. But be in the day that you're on if you get to be with the person you love. For some of you, you getting to be with that person you love comes after you got to learn to love who you are without another person being there. For some of you, being with that forever person that you love comes after you were with someone maybe you loved, but you grew out of a cycle with. Or maybe somebody that you didn't even really groove with and you had a really hard cycle and that shit was whack. But you know what? You learned way more about yourself from that situation. And you also learned to absolutely embrace, appreciate, and open up when you see that maybe something is its exact opposite. That was a lot. I hope that made sense. Speaking of love, I keep looking over and looking at this one. So let's do the modern love and just get a couple of tarot messages for you. So what are a couple of extra tarot messages? Helpful on blast from the past, door to romance, action, blossoming abundance, seeds of growth, big love, and friends and lovers, and perseverance. All right, what is the foundational focus, biggest energy to know about? Please and thank you. What is the foundational energy? Is to trust your, trust your intuition, that you have an inner knowing, that somebody makes you feel some kind of way. That was kind of interesting, the way that came through. Make you feel some kind of way. Maybe you don't even know how to express it, because the high priestess is kind of funny like that. She doesn't always know how to perfectly express the truth embodied in her soul. The high priestess is able to take those spirits. It's kind of like I saw that teacher-student thing. It's like if You're supposed to learn the lesson that's like the kindergarten of your soul here, but then you're supposed to jump to grade 486, in the next cycle. Then you're going to pass a couple levels, but you might have to backtrack. It's being at the position of what your soul needs to learn when it needs to learn it. And everybody is different in that process. It's also knowing that you have to listen to your intuition on a certain person, coming back from the past, on what you were planting in your life, on how to gain that abundance, what to take action towards, and what to, stay away from, when to open up your heart, when to hold back, it's kind of like that person on the fence that I saw. Knowing when it's not the right time to push somebody to open up. And then maybe there's another time where you do something a different way and it does open up a situation. Sometimes the high priestess is secrets. It's divinity. She looks so wise here. She also looks like she is opening up the curtain to the sunshine. Getting to the heart of the matter. She has a lot of books around her too. So this high priestess has a lot more knowledge than you might get on conversation one. This is a person that has learned from multiple lifetimes. And the high priestess can be really confusing because she's often misunderstood. But when she's really truly felt and understood by someone, there might not be the words to express how big a connection is or why he or she recognizes that something has more than potential to grow. But it's also trusting in the timing, trusting that there is a higher purpose for everything, trusting that she can't get or he can't get into that ego side of wanting their intuition to be a certain thing, because now you have desire in there, and that always taints, it kind of tarnishes the insight given. Because sometimes as humans, you want something to have a certain outcome. You want something to open up, or you want to connect to a certain person because you feel big love for them. But the high priestess knows that big love had a purpose. But if something is fenced out or not working, then the high priestess understands that God has a bigger plan. And you have to trust in that. I hope that made sense. The high priestess is powerful. That one. Maybe somebody is moving. Somebody has to trust in the natural movement out of an old situation or into a new one. This person doesn't look that happy about moving. It's usually a bittersweet energy. If somebody had to, think about moving. Maybe some of you have been in the same place for a long time and you haven't moved, but I know, living in New York City for a while, there were a couple years where it felt like, oh my gosh, like every year, every 2 years, like you have to move somewhere. It's a pain in the what. And then maybe it's moving from one country to another country, state to state. Maybe it's even just moving from one room to another room of your house. You have to take out all your stuff. You have to go through all those memories, all those things that, were important to you or had value, got dusty on the shelf you didn't even know you had anymore. You have to donate half of it, clean it up, box it up. And now you get to a new space. Now you have to totally reorganize your life. This is somebody who's moving off the fence in that other direction. The Eight of Cups is where somebody recognizes that those seeds of growth were just not growing anymore. They weren't bringing that romantic energy of abundance. The action was just kind of going around and around. It's where the abundance was sort of like winter all of the time. I just thought of Winter by Tori Amos. It's a really good song. And somebody has to really step into that position of empowerment to know, all right, even though in the past their heart was in it, they were all in. They put their energy, effort, time, love, attention, affection into something, but then it just got like so vanilla that it's not even a flavor anymore. And somebody knows in their soul that they need to go on their own, or they need to go in a different direction, because that's a soul's journey now that somebody goes on towards their Nine of Cups. And when somebody goes on that journey, whether with a new person, whether by themselves, whether away from a situation or to another one, that journey is where somebody grows. That journey is where somebody learns who they are becoming, not what they just were. This is somebody who gains so much clarity in that experience every step of the way. Even though it might be bittersweet, they're leaving something they kind of love behind. It could also be for some of you, if this is somebody coming back from the past. I'm going to go get her because she's given me the signal. I'll be right back. Back to the blast from the past. I see the Eight of Cups upside down as the boomerang. You toss that boomerang and it comes back around. So if somebody had to go venture on out, but they've come back around, they've learned something on that loop-de-loop that they are different when they come back. You know, there's been some kind of self-discovery in one's heart, either after opening up to new experiences, or it could even be where somebody need to go on a big old walkabout to figure out what it is they truly desired, to see what they're going back to. But there's always something where when the person goes back, they're still changed. They're still different. They still see something through that spiritual light. So it could be somebody going away. It could also be somebody coming back. But it's more about after that moving truck gets on the road. You know, there's always the packing and there's always the unpacking. There's also something where there's like a, I don't know, there's like a big translucent, huge window. I like see one of those restaurants where they have the big front windows that kind of like open up to make the whole restaurant open. Maybe some of you do something in a restaurant and that makes sense to you. If you have an entire wall that's made of glass like that, that's pretty fancy. Let's see. Oh yeah, you have somebody felt really trapped before. Maybe you knew somebody felt trapped. Maybe this is definitely somebody that was in a cage, but at least that cage is broken. At least somebody is looking out and seeing if they can look at it's like entrapped by their mind. Somebody's not actually trapped here. There is a key there. There is a key hanging on that person's neck right there. It's right around her neck, right over her heart. She has plenty of room to stick her arm through that weird part of the broken cage and just unlock the situation she believed she was locking. Would she forget she has the key right there in her heart? Maybe somebody made her believe that key wouldn't work, so she never even reached out to try. They're like, oh no, that's not the right key. It's not going to work anyway. You just stay in your cage. Just stay in your cage. That's where you're supposed to be. And sometimes it's somebody telling themselves that, no, this is where you have to be, you know? Stuck in that glass house. Maybe it's about breaking through the glass ceiling here. Because once somebody sees that they're not actually trapped unless they believe they are, there can always be changes in life. Our lives can evolve and we can reinvent ourselves, you know, however many times we want. But there has to be that willingness. What did this say? You can do whatever you set your mind to. If that person doesn't want to come out of the cage, they can stay in that dark box. You know, kind of looking with those sad eyes outside of the beautiful yard that they could be petting the horses in over here. Or, you know, looking at their reflection in a different way in this beautiful, abundant field of wildflowers, sitting in the sunshine instead of in these shadows. All that needs to be done when this comes through is that somebody looks at that situation, their mindset, their environment, their partnership, their position, their job, their project, whatever it is, in a different way. Because there's always a way to get through. This is just where somebody believes that they're bound. The swords are usually right there to unbound you. The swords are usually in the traditional tarot, like kind of up like they're a cage, but they're not. There's not chicken wire around that thing. Somebody can just go the side way, slip through, and then recognize, you know, when I kept a blindfold on, or when somebody put that blindfold on me and I started walking and I was bouncing into a sword and bouncing into a sword and bouncing into a sword and bouncing into a sword, I thought they were everywhere. I didn't realize there was an in-between, that there's a different way. All I needed to do is take that blindfold off, see the truth in a situation, and start to take steps to unlock yourself. But this could also be someone else. If somebody just it's like, I'm getting that elephant thing, you know, when like, I don't know if this is even true, but I think it is, like when they have the elephants and they want them to like stay in a certain position, they put the chains around their like legs and put the bolt in the, you know, bolt the thing in the earth. Then eventually the elephant doesn't really need the chain. They just need to think that they're still chained down and they don't go anywhere. So if somebody feels like they've been chained down, or they don't even realize that they've been tricked into a situation that was training them down, because sometimes it's that. Somebody could be thinking that they can't because somebody else told them something. Or it could also be where somebody was just so used to something, they never even saw anything different to have anything to compare it to. There is a reason that the High Priestess is here. If this is anybody you are connected to and you have this friendship and lovers kind of energy, neither one wants to see the other one chained down. So if this is a true romance in your life, either now or from the past or coming in the future, when it is true unconditional love, you don't want to lock somebody in the thing and cage them down and make them believe they're stuck. What kind of relationship is that? You know, even if you truly love someone, but maybe somebody changes, maybe somebody doesn't feel like the connection is the same, you know, way, maybe it's unrequited love, whatever it is, it's having that badass, really hard strength to know that, okay, well, if you are, you know, not feeling like you're growing in this partnership, or there's something that you need to go and do, and you need to go on this self-discovery, you want to be on your own, the other person should always want the best for who they love. When it's two people who are truly in love, they're going to want the best for each other, and they're probably going to keep choosing each other because they know that that's that place of stability. That's the place where always will have the biggest growth and the deepest roots and the sassiest action and the most intense, you know, I heard mind vibrating conversations ever. But there's always that energy of freedom. Because without that, I mean, you're always going to kind of feel like you're stuck. So if there's somebody holding on to somebody else and they just cannot let go, they need to get out of that ego, upside down High Priestess energy here, that it has to be their way, or they had something so set in stone. And, you know, now it's switching this beautiful connection of the divine and allowance and faith. And it's like swallowing it, smothering it into this stagnant, egotistical, manipulating kind of energy, because that's what that is upside down. And that's like that plastic carousel. It's not vibrant truth. So it's almost like I'm getting like radical acceptance on changes, whether that's changes in your past, changes now, or just knowing this for your future. Sometimes there are huge changes that happen in our life, but that acceptance brings such a peaceful energy rather than that, I don't know, like uncomfortable, stagnant, holding on to something, making something happen. All that feels so uncomfortable, and it feels like that might be a huge lesson, that if it's not you that you've already learned, it might be what somebody else had to learn. And everybody learns their spiritual lessons in their own timing. We're each on our own path. It's just having that beautiful, like love towards that. Acceptance. So I see a heart in my mind, and I feel like I brought those cards that are heart-shaped. I did. I don't have them in the box, but let's end with this one today. Let's end with the, what are these called? This is called the Guardian Angel cards. Let's get one Guardian Angel message for you. That would be helpful. What is the final message for the collective, please and thank you? What do the Guardian Angels want the collective to know at the end of this reading? Because I feel like whoever I'm connecting to that's watching this reading, I feel like you guys are really strong. You're really strong, and you've gained that strength from going through some maybe harsh situations. I also feel like some of you are given that gift of intuition, that inner strength, because of the wisdom you've gained from those situations, is actually where I see the angel. It's almost like you're a little angel in not just one person's life, but maybe many, to help them remember that the key was around their neck, by their heart the whole time. I'm always getting that, you follow the heart, which is such a strong, huge energy. And then trust your mind will figure out the rest. Your intelligence will figure it out, but don't let the mind get in the way of the heart's truth. That's going to get you in the right direction. The mind can figure out each step as long as you're going in the right direction. Okay, we got 2. Oh, these are little letters. I'm going to go get my glasses. Hold on, these are tiny. Gosh, these things are so dirty. Okay, look at what you got. I didn't even see these. So 2, maybe one. Aw, Jewel. Jewel, I love Jewel so much. I mentioned her recently in one of the threads that came up on the shorts. She is just like, oh, also I saw the angel. She kind of has the voice of an angel. Maybe you like Jewel. I'll find a Jewel song and I'll put it in the playlist for you guys. I don't know which one yet. If you have a favorite Jewel song, maybe put it there. If you don't know who she is, maybe check her out, and you have courage. So maybe this is 2 different lessons you're learning, 2 different, facets of inspiration for you. Maybe one is you, maybe one is somebody else. Courage is dare to be different. Dare to be the weirdo in the situation. To make mistakes. Make them. You don't learn unless you make a mistake. After you make a mistake, you learn how to do it better. You learn how to get up again. Create, for it is in creation that you exist in this world of dreams that stem from that's what I saw, the internal heart. You are one with all of creation. All is possible. Go forth. I love that this came full circle. Go forth. Be true to you, to yourself. For it is only through being true to you that you can be true to others. Truth. If you're following the truth of everyone else or doing something you don't truly vibe with or connect with or is not authentic in your soul, then you're not really doing the right thing, helping anybody else. You're not really helping anyone else. You're not setting the right example. You're not even empowering somebody else to live in their truth. They're just seeing that everything is a plastic carousel. I looked at that, 4747. Jewel is every event in life presents us with a new opportunity to experience an even greater love. There is a jewel to be found within every teardrop. Trust, your angels, are guiding you through the current events. This is a time in which you and those close to you will emerge strengthened by even greater bonds of love. Trust. There is nothing to fear. There is only love. This could be somebody who acted out of fear of loss, fear of, success, fear of failure. If decisions are made out of fear, they're always going to make you feel out of alignment. If decisions are made with vibrant, true love, openness, that gift of, unconditional allowance, everything is always going to steer you back into the right direction, on the right path, to that next signpost, that next pause on the fence, to know when to step into that stallion energy and, hit the gas, take some action. The right seeds to plant in your life that will bring abundance all around, because you're going to enjoy tending that garden. With this, I bid you adieu. Rose has just plopped herself on my foot. I love you so much. I hope this reading was helpful. I look forward to seeing you very soon. And I I want to thank you for blessing my life. Thank you for blessing my life with beautiful seeds of joy and love. I love you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.